So how are you going to pass that real estate exam? You're going to prep with Wild Lillie Handy of YouTube Agent Prep. We're going to do Texas real estate questions today and answers and a little bit of math at the end. All right. So we're continuing, okay, from where we left off. And so we were on agency and brokerage. So we're using the same book, okay, by one of my favorite authors, Texas Real Estate Exam by the Metling father and son team and two other authors. And let's see, where are my questions? Nope, those aren't it. We're starting on 14. Oh, those are the answers. No. Answers are only for me to review. That's the answer key. Okay, there we go. All right, so remember to participate, type the question number and the answer so that we all know where you're at. Anybody watching the replay, the class is for students to participate during the live. So, hey, fast forward, when I'm giving them a chance to write the question. And for anybody who's been here for the first time, hey, remember to, you know what to do. Tap that subscribe button, click that little bell so you're first to get notified, and like this video if you find it worthwhile, helping you pass. It has helped a lot of students pass. So you're the next one, right? So I'm all excited because I hired somebody today to delegate a lot of my editing on my videos for my other channel, for my thumbnails, for my shorts, all the lettering, when I talk. So I am revamping my business, or what's it called? Relaunching, so that I can help a lot of sellers this year and help my downline at EXP grow. Hey, Cindy. Thanks for your suggestions on continuing with math, Texas State. That has recently been the toughest for many students. All right, here we go. So, oh, shoot. We did number 10, so we're starting with 11. We did number 10 on Saturday. Hey, weather really changed today, okay, while I'm getting this here fixed. It dropped 20 degrees, like winter's coming. All right, number 11. So it should be easier for you all to stay at home and study, right? Because it was raining today. Well, it's nice now, right? So rainy days, cool weather kind of helps people study and focus a little bit more, get comfortable, maybe get a glass of wine or a beer to relax you. And hi, Carlos. Thanks for joining us. So we're doing Texas State questions. And on the second part, we will do some math, equations, formulas, that type of thing. Do a little bit of review. Okay, number 11. What is the primary function of an appointed intermediary? Okay, vocabulary, intermediary. That's why I stress vocabulary a lot. So their primary function could be what? To stand in for the primary intermediary in the event of an absence of illness. B, to give the principal a choice in which broker they prefer to represent them. C, to represent the principal party that the broker does not represent. Or D, to carry out specific instructions from the intermediary for the benefit of the principal party. So that's for an appointed intermediary, right? In case the main broker is not there and now they're doing both sides of the transactions. They've got a realtor representing the buyer, realtor representing the seller. So what is their primary function? Okay, so far I have D. And yes, that is correct. To carry out specific instructions from the intermediary for the benefit of the principal parties. Okay, I want to make sure that I am typing the answers on the right place on Facebook. Oh, no. Wait a minute. Nope, that's not it. Hold on, you guys, because I post them for people who watch them on Facebook. And if I post them on here, the answers don't show up on Facebook, although they do show up on YouTube. All right, so I want to make sure everybody has access. Okay, so D. Okay, Carlos, you got it too. And well, I'm not typing it in the right place because it didn't show up in here. Darn it. So where am I? Gosh, guys, sorry. When I type it on Facebook, it also shows up here on StreamYard. You know, I'm streaming to different media. So why is it not showing? Oh, I think I know why. Okay, bear with me a moment. You know, when you least expect it, okay, things go wacko. All right, so I'm there. Now let me go to YouTube AgentPrep. All right, well, let's see if they keep showing. I had to type them in last time or on Saturday. All right, number 12. You know, I do this every week. I don't know why I messed. Oh, I was tinkering with my Facebook today when I was talking to my new coach. It's going to help me get additional virtual assistants to help me get some of what I shouldn't be doing off my plate, and I can focus on doing more videos. And cold calling. Can you imagine? I'm going to do some cold calling. Okay, I'm struggling here. Okay, those you watching the replay, hey, just fast forward, okay? Lily's having challenges today. Dang. Okay. One more time. Let's see here. Wow, why am I struggling so much today? It's not coming out on one page. All right, there. It's a little bit smaller. Hi, Gina. Hi, LaQuinn. She passed her national exam today. So congratulate LaQuinn on passing her national. Okay. She's awesome. Okay, number 12. Which of the following accurately describes a broker's duty in managing operations? Okay, broker's duties, not realtors, not sales agents, but a broker's duties in managing operations. A, the broker must develop, then abide by his or her rules for handling trust funds and managing the trust accounts. The broker may delegate compliance duties, but must ensure timely communication between his delegated sales agents and clients. C, the broker may delegate selling and prospecting activities, but may not delegate property management activities. Or D, all listing and sales agents' names must be maintained to accurately reflect each sales agent's address and contact data. Well, it's not going to be D, okay? So it's either A, B, or C. So type your answer in the chatty chat. All right, so I've got B so far. So all of you that have just come in, we are doing Texas State questions today only, no national, and then we will do some math review. Okay, so I've got B, and yes, the answer is B. The broker may delegate compliance duties, but must ensure timely communication between his delegated sales agents and clients. That's weird. My replies are on Facebook are not showing on here. That's okay. All right, so the answer is 12B. So usually the compliance person can be, another realtor, can be another broker that reviews all of our contracts to make sure that everything is kosher, dot the I's, cross the T's, and we don't have to deal with error and omission. And once they approve all our contracts, then they say, okay, this person can get paid, right? So they review, making sure we've got all the green instead of any red, meaning they've rejected something and they have to do it. The other things, the broker must develop then abide by his or her rules for handling trust accounts and managing. Well, there's already laws about that. The broker may delegate selling prospective activities, but not delegate property management activities. Well, they can delegate property management activities to another broker or someone else that's an assistant in-house. Okay, it's just a license will be required for certain things. Okay, so I think everybody got that one. Cool. So number 13, I started doing some shorts, right? And I noticed that my views by guys went up. And that must be because they're brief. They want get to the point, Lily. You know what? Type, say something and the results. So guys seem to be liking the shorts and viewing those more. So that was an interesting analytics I saw today. So number 13, a broker must discharge numerous duties related to her or his agency relationships. Which of the following is such a duty? A, the broker owes customers honest disclosure of the client's financial status and property value. B, the broker owes the fiduciary obligations of fairness and impartiality in all dealings with clients. C, the broker is obligated to justify any and all subordinate terminations with TREC. Or D, the broker must disclose to the principal all known information affecting the client's decision-making unless legally prohibited. So I wonder why that's not showing. Type your answer in the chat. Okay, so far I have a D, and yes, the answer is D. It is the broker must disclose to the principal all known information affecting the client's decision-making unless legally prohibited. All right, good. Everybody else got it. So you probably had a little delay. All right, number 14. Transaction, listing, and closing files must be maintained from the date of closing or expiration for a total of how many years? 1, 2, 3, or 4? A lot of questions like these are typically even numbers. Type your answer in the chat. All right, I've got D. Anybody else? Quickity quick. Yes, the answer is D, 4 years. Oh, I haven't typed it on there. I mean, I typed it, didn't click. So 14 is D, 4 years that we must keep all files, and we can keep them online and on Google Doc with our brokerage, or hard paper, or paper. I always keep a file in a Google Drive as a backup, because clients will sometimes ask us for information years later. And if for some reason, you want to have your own copy instead of just providing it to our compliance department and whatever brokerage you decide to be. And hopefully you'll consider EXP. Oh, that rhymes. Right, number 14. Oh, no, we're on number 15. Oh, sorry about that. Wow. Oh, it's a long question, so I'll have to minimize it quite a bit. All right, number 15. Can you all still see that? There, that's a little better. Number 15, brokers are required to maintain office policies and procedures to ensure that, among other things, sponsored sales agents keep current on law changes and their continuing education requirements, known as CE. Which of the following is not a goal served by policy and procedure manuals? A, advertising compliance. B, proper records maintenance. C, optimized web presence for marketing listings. Or D, ensuring practicing licensees have active licenses. So which is one that brokers aren't required to provide it in policies and procedures? Something that maybe old school individuals may not utilize much. And even current individuals that have real estate licenses when it comes to certain activities. Okay, so far I have C. Come on, come on. Going once, going twice, gone. Yes, it is C. Optimized web presence for marketing listings. Okay, that is not required to maintain an office policies and procedures. So advertising compliance, yes. Proper record keeping, yes. Ensuring practicing licensees have active license, yes. Right? Very good. Did I already say hi to you, Gina? I think so. I'm not sure. So anybody that's just come on, hi. I like to acknowledge each one of you personally. All right, number 16. In the course of brokerage practice, licensees share or split fees. Which of the following compensation scenarios would constitute a license law violation? A, sharing or rebating a commission with another sales agent with prior broker and principal approval. B, paying a one-time referral fee to an unlicensed party which is not practicing real estate. C, splitting a commission with an unlicensed party who is performing licensed activities. Or D, sharing or splitting a commission with a sponsoring broker. So which of the following companies would constitute a license law violation? Okay, I've got C so far. CCC, and that is correct. Yes, C. Splitting commission with an unlicensed party who is performing license activities. That is illegal, right? Sharing or rebating a commission with another sales agent with prior broker. Yes, that we do, right? Paying a one-time referral fee to an unlicensed party who is not practicing. We can do what, a one-time $50 gift, but it has to be a gift. And then sharing or splitting a commission with a broker. Well, yes, that's what we do. So 1416C. And if you guys ever catch me answering the question wrong, which I have done, or typing it wrong, please let me know. Please alert me so that I can correct it. This is a two-way street. We're here to help each other out. All right, number 17. As a rule, rebates, commission, and service provider fees in real estate transactions must be transparent. In other words, we've got to disclose. And there's a lot of affiliations nowadays. And so then we provide, an affiliation form for buyer and seller to sign in case we happen to be receiving a fee from someone like a home warranty, okay, or another service provider. So let's see. In that context, which of the following scenarios is in compliance with license law? A, without the buyer's consent, a service provider rendering services to the buyer pays the seller's representative a commission for the referral. B, a licensee discloses and obtains consent from her client, seller client, to receive a fee from a property inspector. C, a licensee accepts a service provider fee that is contingent on the client purchasing the provider's services. Or D, a licensee who represents the buyer enters a contract with a service provider to perform services for the buyer on behalf of the provider. So which one is in compliance with license law? Type your answer in the chat. Nobody yet, huh? Well, maybe the rain is causing delays at both ends. All right, the answer is B. Oh, I wrote down 1617B. It is a licensee discloses and obtains consent from her seller client to receive a fee from a property inspector. So yes, you all did really good on there. BB. So the first one says without consent, right? And 3 says licensee accepts a service provider fee that is contingent on the client purchasing it. Well, that we have to disclose if that's going to happen, right? Anything that we do have to be disclosed. Some home warranty companies, for example, should we use a home warranty during the listing period to warrant any of the appliances that are in there that may stop working during the inspection, during the listing period? The home warranty will repair it, but some of them will only do it under the condition that the seller buy a home warranty for the buyers. Therefore, that has to be disclosed, right? Just like on B. And then C, a licensee who represents the buyer on behalf of them and they do the work. No. Okay. So very good. You did well. No, I don't need to edit that. Okay, number 18. Well, I'm trying to make it a little bit larger here. Okay, there we go. 18. Which of the following is true regarding referrals? We love referrals. That's another way to make money on commission. Okay. Which one is true regarding referrals? A, the party receiving the referral must be licensed. B, receiving parties need not to be licensed under any condition. C, the referring party must be licensed regardless of compensation expectation. Or D, the referring party must be licensed if expecting compensation for the referral. type your answer in the chat. I wonder how the music is going today. Sometimes I can add music to the live. Like dance pop. So I'm waiting for some answers. See, like today I had the music on all day, and yesterday I worked all day yesterday. All right, so let's go to comments. Let's see what everybody answered. Let's see, I've got D. Only 2 persons answered. Come on, take a risk. Yes, the answer is D. The referring party must be licensed if expecting compensation from the referral. So both sides have to be licensed, okay? So we can send a referral to a realtor, let's say in another area that a client is relocating, or another realtor can send us a referral of a client that's moving to our area. So the other party receiving the referral must be licensed. So both, okay? But it doesn't say about the referring party, right? So the receiving party also must be licensed, and the referring party must be licensed if expecting compensation. So that is the more accurate answer, right? So y'all did well. Okay, so number 19. So you all saw that, right? That the first one, is also correct. However, it says which of the following is true regarding referrals? Well, the referring party, the first one says the party receiving the referral must be licensed. I mean, that is a true statement. However, the best answer as the referring party must be licensed if they're expecting compensation. Okay, so since they're going to get compensated, they must. So that's the extra information that was needed for that answer, that they were getting compensated. Sometimes we do referrals and we don't get paid. Like we don't ask for a payment. Like, for example, a rental that's not going to pay a whole lot. Here in San Antonio, sometimes a rental pays $200, $250. So if I refer that to someone, I don't ask for a referral fee because they're not making that much to begin with, right? So just an example there. All right, number 19. Which of the following would be categorized as an unlicensed activity not requiring a license? Okay, so somebody is doing real estate activity, but they don't need a license. A, developing a mail campaign for a new licensee. B, responding to phone inquiries regarding the condition of an open house listing. C, confirming a listing address on the phone. Or D, assimilating recently sold properties into a price strategy for a builder. All right, Cindy's on the ball here. Well, actually, all of you are on the ball. So I've got so far C. Yeah, there are internet issues today, because my Facebook just sent me a little reload. C. How about you, Carlos? Anybody else? Type your answer in the chat. The answer is C. Confirming a listing address on the phone. Because as you well know, at the beginning of class, I said I'm hiring a cold calling person, and that's an appointment setter. An appointment setter, they're not discussing anything about real estate. They're just making calls and setting appointments so that I can follow up and talk to them, right? And so this is like for sell by owners, expireds, or neighborhood leads, because I'll be buying some leads. And therefore, they can do that in addition to me doing some of it. And that doesn't require a license. So, they could be getting an address, getting an email, that type of thing, and that's okay. So a lot of assistants are hired to do that type of thing. As long as they're not discussing, pricing and anything, they're just stating what's available. Number 20. So everybody did good. Yep. All right. Which of the following would not be classified as an unlicensed activity? Which of the following would positively be defined as a licensed activity? So it says, which of the following would not be classified as an unlicensed activity? Therefore, one of the following would be positively be defined as licensed activity. Okay. A, supervising a new licensee. B, inputting data on a new listing into MLS. C, scheduling and confirming showing appointments. Or D, providing mortgage interest rates or area banks to consumers. So, the way they wrote the question kind of makes it confusing. First, they tell you it would not be classified as an unlicensed activity. Therefore, it would positively, absolutely, unequivocally be a licensed activity requirement. So, like Quinn, you did good on the previous answer. Good job. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Because it has two U's, like qui and how. Okay, so far I've got A for number 20. Come on, come on. It is not B, Carlos. Take another attempt, please. All right. One, going twice. Gone. The answer is A, supervising a new licensee. That requires being licensed. Okay. It could be a team leader, it could be the broker, it could be another realtor. So they've got to be licensed. So a lot of team leaders that have a mega team, okay, they will get other realtors to join them and provide them with leads and train them on doing cold calling, open houses, knocking on doors, things like that. So they're supervising them. So inputting data on a new listing into MLS, that is just like, being a data encoder. You're not interacting with clients, basically following information provided by the realtor to input it into the MLS, multiple listing service. So we don't need to be licensed for that. Because what requires a license? Anyone that is helping or representing a client, okay, in exchange for being paid. So we are representing someone or helping someone with details about real estate, about properties that we got educated about in past exams. So if we're not dealing with a client and just providing information, facts that are on a listing that we read, then that doesn't require, being licensed. Scheduling, confirming, showing appointments doesn't. Providing mortgage interest rates, all this is online. We're not talking to a specific person. We're just quoting. I mean, we're not going into detail about a property with a seller or a buyer or an investor, okay? Which investor could be a buyer or a seller. Okay, where are we at? Number 21. Gosh, all these darn things. Okay, 21. Oh, it's a little bit longer. So 20 was A. Which of the following statements is true? It's a true statement regarding the seller's disclosures of property condition document, which we call seller's disclosure notice, but it's disclosing anything about the property that a seller knows when they're putting their home on the market. That's a required document for individuals occupying the home or they inherited it. A, it is to be completed and given to a buyer at the seller's option and discretion. B, it must be completed on or before the effective date of the binding purchase agreement. C, licensees and firms may design their own form, or there is no promulgated or suggested form provided by TREC. D, if a seller is not aware of a particular property condition item, he or she must have such item inspected for workability. So one of the answers has the word must on it, right? And so that one is the accurate answer. Sometimes must is an inclination that that's going to be the answer. Not always the case. If a lot of the answers have must on it, then, okay, that's not going to be the trigger word. And, the bottom one also has must. However, it doesn't start out with it must be completed. So what is true about the seller disclosure property condition, right? It must be completed on or before the effective date of the binding purchase agreement. Okay. So it can be provided, when it's completed, the purchase agreement, and it can be provided after, but it has to be provided. If not, the buyer can terminate the contract and get their earnest money back. What was the answer? B. So everybody got that one right. It's a 5-page form, has a lot of questions for the seller to answer about the property condition and whether everything is working or not, if they've had any roofs replaced, any appliances replaced, any other appliances, plumbing issues, electrical issues, things like that. If you're in the country, they would have to answer things about the sewer, the well. Lots and lots of questions. So if you're not used to asking questions, work on making a change of that. You'll want to ask a lot of questions in real estate. 1422. Some exceptions exist to the rules for completing the seller's property condition report. Which of the following is not such an exception? Okay, there's always, not always, there are a lot of exceptions to certain rules and documents. So is it A, a father transfers the property to his daughter? B, the property is used for residential purposes? C, the property is new and has not been owned before? D, the transaction is a foreclosure sale? So which one is not an exception, such an exception to the rules where the seller has to complete the form? Type your answer in the chat. See, I read that wrong. Yes, I do that sometimes. However, you got it right. Oh, I see. You type C first. Okay. Hi, Anai. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, the answer here is B. Okay. So when the property is being used for residential purposes, right here, then the seller's property condition is required. There are some exceptions. Sometimes a father transfers the property to their daughter. However, right now I have that situation and EXP is requiring it, even though I didn't necessarily help the buyer nor the seller. This is a repeat client. They worked out the deal and they just asked me to write the contract, right? So I'm just charging a small fee. and I still have to pay commission of that to my broker. So I said, well, you guys agreed to everything. You don't need it. And it says a father transfers property to their daughter. So that's an exception. However, our company is saying, nope, we want it. So I already informed the seller that's representing themselves that they need to complete it. And we'll do that when we go to the title company. And so anytime there's a property is used for residential purposes. For commercial, there is a commercial condition form. If it's a foreclosure, no. If it's a vacant property that has a new construction, never been lived in, of course, no. The builder is going to provide a certificate of occupancy for that. That one is required. So there are exceptions. So if it's a foreclosure, tax liens, an executor, of a will or an administrator assigned by the court, then those are all exceptions. All right, number 14, 22, what was it? Number 23. Okay, a seller delivers the seller's property condition disclosure to the buyer after the deadline. What is the consequence? A, the licensee has violated license law. B, the seller's contract is nullified. C, the buyer may rescind the contract within 7 days following receipt of the disclosure. Or D, the buyer can compel the seller to repair any undisclosed defects. I made a little comment a few minutes ago about what a buyer could do if the seller doesn't deliver it. So type your answer in the chat. All right, so far I've got CC from Gina and Cindy. One of my best friends in Michigan during my first college degree, her name was Regina, but she went by Gina, like that, Gina. Yes, the answer is C. The buyer may rescind the contract, terminate the contract within 7 days following receipt of the disclosure. So a lot of us realtors will ask for the disclosure before writing a contract so that we can review it with the buyer prior to submitting an offer. Because what if the disclosure has a lot of issues? So sometimes they're already uploaded on the MLS, and other times we have to ask the realtors. Now, if the realtors don't have it, then we can say, okay, deliver it within 3 days or 5 days. And that seller agent has to get it from their client, right, to complete it and then send it to us. So that's why it also says they have 7 days following receipt of the disclosure, seller's disclosure notice, to be able to rescind the contract. If they never receive it, okay, they can rescind the contract anytime before closing. Or if the seller doesn't deliver it by the deadline, then again, they can cancel the contract and get their earnest money back. All right, number 24. Oh, that's a long one. Okay, so. All right, number 24. But you all did well on that one. Okay. A homeowner resides in a new subdivision, okay, new subdivision managed by a homeowners association, HOA. What obligation, if any, does this fact create whenever the owner decides to sell? A, the owner must advise any buyer of the managing entity and associated fees prior to closing. B, the owner must advise the buyer of all homeowner obligations or face a 30-day exposure to contract rescission. C, the licensee must disclose the association's existence or face disciplinary action. Or D, the owner must disclose the existence of the association and all obligations accompanying membership. Hey, I like that title. Our vlog says, thanks for your videos. Passed both yesterday at first try. Woohoo! Congratulations. That's awesome. Our vlog, can you let us know how you studied and what you studied? So did you study every single day for so many hours? How soon after you finished all your classes did you do it? And because everybody studies differently, right? And I like to ask them so that others can see, how they've done it. And did you use a prep book? Did you go to a prep school like Prep Agents Prep School or Champion? Would you mind typing some of that? I greatly appreciate you letting us know that you passed it all on the first exam. Yes, on the first exam. Okay, the answer is D. The owner must disclose the existence of the association and all obligations accompanying membership. Yeah, and there's the bylaws and all this and da. Okay, that has to be provided. And a lot of times the title companies actually will order it if the seller doesn't have it. And sometimes even if they have it, the title company will order it and they'll have to pay the fee for it. Sometimes the fee is shared. All right, so hopefully our vlog will make a comment. But congratulations. And thank you for watching my videos and coming on here. Number 25. In addition to obligations regarding property condition and homeowners association, if a selling homeowner resides on a property abutting tidal water, abutting tidal water, he or she must do what in addition to, all other disclosures and conditions? A, disclose the mean, high, and low tide levels in the letter signed by all principals. B, disclose the changeability of the property's boundaries owing to erosion. C, disclose the boundary line out into the water since the waterway is navigable. Or D, provide a history of all landfills occurring over the prior 10 years. If they're abutting, an ocean, tidal water, sea. Okay, so far I have B. It's not C, Cindy, so take another attempt at it. There's actually a promulgated form that individuals will fill when they're by a coastal area or tidal. So it says, in addition to obligations regarding property condition and home, if a selling homeowner resides on a property abutting tidal property. So what could happen when, there's high tide, low tide, things like that? It comes out with avulsion, avulsion, erosion, and all alluvion and all those words, right? And yeah, so the answer is B. Disclose the changeability of the property's boundaries signed by all boundaries owing to erosion. Okay, you've studied all those words, right? Erosion, alluvion, accretion, avulsion, all those fun words that I also forget. Oh, what was number 24? 25. So you all did, and Cindy, you got it? Okay, you answered C. And that was disclose the boundary line out into the water since the waterway is navigable. No, that is usually described by the, riparian laws or what is it? Littoral, but here would be littoral, right? It's where are the boundary lines into the water. However, when there's tidal water, it can wash away land. It can erode away land. Okay, so that was, what was that topic? Subagency. And so now we're going to go into contracts. So that had to do with agency and brokerage relationships. Actually, no, we're going to continue to math because there's not a lot of Texas questions. So we just did 15 having to do with agency and brokerage relationships. So agency has a lot to do with seller's disclosures notice. Okay. So are y'all okay with 15 questions? Okay, when I do this, although I repeat them, right? And if I've repeated this before and we still get them incorrect, then we're not really learning them. And that's okay. That's why I say practice, practice, practice questions until you get 100 score. So do you want me to do a little bit more or go into the, actually, I should go into math in case we have some individuals that are from other states. Okay. Are y'all cool with that? I'm asking, so give me an answer. Going once, going twice. More, please. Is that what you're agreeing to, Carlos? More state questions? Or yes, go to math? I forget what was my last question. So Gina says more state questions. Is that what you're saying yes to, Carlos and Anaí? Anybody watching the replay? Hey, just fast forward. Yes. Okay. Whichever is fine with me. Cindy's fine. But I know you're comfortable with math, Cindy. So you told me that earlier today. Okay. So then we will continue with more state questions. So now this has to do with contracts. Okay. And I have a whole video, all right, about contracts on the new contract that was released April of 2021. So if you have issues with contracts, go watch that video. It's almost 2 hours long, reviewing the Texas state contract, every section of it. Okay. All right. Number 1. So this is for Texas state contracts. So let's see. Texas state contracts. I'm missing Lisbeth today. I hope she, maybe she was the one that said she was taking her state exam today. And maybe she passed. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, get your thinking cap for contracts, right? The 1 to 4 contract, other promulgated contracts and such. Which of the following is true regarding Texas promulgated contracts? A, they are recommended by the Texas Bar at the discretion of member attorneys. B, they must be completed with the assistance or approval of a licensed attorney. C, they replace contracts previously prepared by principal's attorneys. Or D, they must be used for sale and lease transactions with some exceptions. Oh, thank you, Cindy, for that comment. She says the contract video is great help. Yes, that's why it's almost 2 hours long, because I go into every section. Okay, type the answer here. No, it is not. B as in boy. No. The answer is actually D. They must be used for sale and lease transactions with some exception. So you had 2 of them, okay? Texas promulgated contracts were required to use those. So it's either A, B, they must be completed, okay? But it doesn't have to be with a licensed attorney, right? We're filling in the blanks. All the legal jargon's already on there. So the next one is they must be used for sale and lease transactions with some exceptions. If a client goes to an attorney and they want to use the attorney's contract, that's okay. Okay, if a document doesn't exist and they get approval from the Texas Real Estate Commission attorneys and committee and all that, then they can be used. So those are a couple of exceptions. So very good. So you got it, Carlos? I hope so. All right, number 2. Licensees may not engage in the unauthorized practice of law. Which of the following would constitute such a violation? A, insisting that due to the legal nature of property transactions, the buyer should obtain competent legal counsel. B, explaining the purpose of a building permit. C, expressing an opinion regarding the validity of the seller's title. Or D, giving a buyer prospect a copy of the subdivision's covenants and restrictions. Which one would be a violation? Good, Carlos. I'm glad. So yeah, maybe go on and watch that Texas 124 contract video. It is a good one, if I say so myself, but Cindy's alluded to that. So thank you for that, Cindy. So which one would be for number 2? A, B, C, or D? Okay, going once. All right, here come the answers. I've got 2C, C. Oui, oui, monsieur. That's from Medea, Tyler Perry. I always remember that when it comes to C. Yes, the answer is C. Expressing an opinion regarding validity of a seller's title, right? That is a legal document. That is not our expertise. So they should go to an attorney to get advice on it. All righto, number 3. That's a little low. Okay, number 3. Oh, dang it. The practice of completing sales contracts is a tightly regulated activity. Since so much is at stake for consumers, in that context, which of the following is not an acceptable practice? Okay, we don't practice law. A, filling in the blanks to a contract form in the middle of a negotiations. B, adding a statement of fact desired by both principals. C, adding another blank in a contract clause. Or D, informing a buyer client that an encumbrance or seller's title may be a big problem for the lender. So as realtors, there are certain things that we do with contracts, right? But there are others that we do not. So let's see. Those of you that are typing just the letter answer, would you mind please typing the question number and the answer? Because sometimes when I go back to see, I'm not sure if you got ahead of me and you answered the current question or a prior question. All right, so 15.3C, C. Yes, that is the answer. Adding another blank in a contract clause. We cannot modify the contract. An attorney can do that, okay? And if a client does it, they've got to initial it and the buyer or the seller both have to agree. So we advise clients, please don't alter the contracts either. If an attorney does it, they go to an attorney, then that's acceptable, right? They are real estate attorneys. All right, number 4. So everybody answered CCC. Okay. Which of the following is a violation of license law as they relate to contracts? A, using a committee form under certain circumstances. B, entering language onto a contract clause blank that defines what a tenant can or cannot do if the landlord does not make a timely security improvement. C, refusing to load language from promulgated contract A into promulgated contract B for the sake of efficiency. Or D, advising a buyer that a contract is legally binding. So which one is a violation of law? Type your answer in the chat for number 4. Using a committee form, entering language, refusing to load language from one contract to another, or advising a buyer that a contract is legally binding. The answer is actually B. Okay. Entering language onto a contract, clause blank, okay? That defines what a tenant can or cannot do if the landlord does not make a timely security improvement. Okay, that would be included into their agreement. So that is not for us to make that. There are Texas state landlord and tenant laws as to what that tenant can do. So let's see, some of you answered C, refusing to load language from promulgated contract A into promulgated contract B for the sake of efficiency. Well, each contract will have its own language, okay? So, we don't transfer from one contract, one document to another document. If that is such that we add an addendum or an amendment. So that is not a violation of law. So a realtor, refuses to load language. Okay, that is acceptable because we don't change that. Okay, that is like entering language, even if it's from one contract document to another. Okay. All right. Number 15. And I believe that'll be the last one because the matching questions are a little bit challenging. I have to use multiple screens in order to do that. And I did those in another video. They were kind of cool. I mean, we liked them. All right, number 15. During the course of a transaction, the licensee must advise clients of various circumstances where legal counsel should be consulted. In which of the following scenarios should the licensee recommend that the buyer obtain legal counsel? A, a licensee is selling her own property and has just hired an attorney. Excuse me. So a licensee is selling her own property and has just hired an attorney to represent her. B, a transaction involving several promulgated contracts. C, a contract for deed transaction involving several non-standard contingencies. Or D, a buyer is about to place an offer on a property where the previous residents had AIDS. So in which of the following scenarios should the licensee recommend the buyer obtain legal counsel? Type your answer in the chat, the chatty chat. No, it is not D, because remember, we don't have to disclose whether somebody had AIDS or not. So that's not for us to disclose. So it is not D. It's A, B, or C. Okay, so far I've got C, 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 C. That is correct. A contract for deed transaction involving several non-standard contingencies. Okay, a contract for deed is what? What's a contract for deed? Type it in the chat. Anybody? Anybody going to type an answer for what a contract for deed is? Okay, a contract for deed, could be a seller is selling a property and keeping the deed until the property is paid in full. So it's a seller financing, owner finance type of property. And some places, don't recommend it at all, except, people do it. And a lot of times it can have extra contingencies. They could be doing a lease option, a lease option to buy. So then you're going to have the lease option agreement. You're going to have the lease agreement. You're going to have a purchase agreement. You're going to have a memorandum agreement, a whole bunch of contracts. And there could be other contingencies. And they're also making a payment up front, which is not considered a down payment. It could be an option fee and then a monthly payment as a lease. And if they could also be paying extra. So they want to have an attorney review that because it has a lot of things that we don't deal with, okay, in a regular document, okay? So no, it would not be a title. Contract for deed is when a seller is selling the property on their own as a for sale by owner. I'm sorry, as a seller financing. I said for sale by owner. Seller financing, owner financing, and they keep the deed until the property is paid for. So they make installments just like they would to a bank. However, they got to make sure that everything is legal and kosher. Okay, so the answer there was a contract for deed involving several non-standard. So that was the key word, non-standard contingencies. Okay, let's see. Carlos, you answered D. A buyer is about to place an offer on a property. Right, I said we don't have to disclose that somebody is AIDS. That's protected, right? Only if it's a murder or a death due to, property defects. Okay, those types of things are disclosed. Okay, so that'll be it for national question. For Texas state questions, because the rest are, these types of things matching. And we've done like 20 questions. So I think at this point, it's up to you. I said on there that I would do some math. So we can do some math or we can call it a day, call it a night. Okay. And then I'll just change the topic on my YouTube title. Do any of you on here need help with math? Mathematics. See, boy, my hat is dirty, man. It's one of my favorite hats, right? Because I have some old Mercedes Benz. Yes. Okay. So you do want some math. Okay. And basically what I was going to do was review some math. Okay. And I'll show you. The different sections on math. Okay, we have basic math, leases, investment, finance, appraisals and value. That might be a good one to review, or closing cost and prorations. A lot of times students miss that. And also calculating commissions, okay, how that works. So who has a weakness with closing costs and prorations, and that's where you're going to have the debits and credits on a settlement statement, and then calculating commissions, who gets a commission, who doesn't, how do you do it, or the appraisal and value. Okay, that's also a weakness. Anybody have a weakness in either of those three? No, if not, I'm going to pick one. Because closing costs, actually, a lot of times there are questions on appraisal. Yeah, so let's do the appraisal one, okay? All right. So we're going to review, not necessarily do problems, okay? concerning appraisals and the value. Like, what does the appraiser do? Which properties do you make adjustments to and such when you're doing comparables? Okay. So on the appraisal and appraisal value, and remember, we are not appraisers and they are not licensed by TREC. They are licensed by the appraisal board. Okay. So when doing comparables, CMA, okay, comparable market analysis, there's also competitive market analysis. The appraiser will do a comparable market analysis with dealing with sold properties. And there's different things that they'll want to know and making adjustments after they find all the comparables. Okay, so and actually this I can make larger since we're discussing topics. Okay, I'll leave it where it was. Okay, appraisal value, adjusting comparables. So the rules to adjusting comparables. We never, this is a never, adjust the subject property. What is the subject property? The one that is being evaluated. Okay, so hey, I'm buying this property. The bank wants an appraisal. So this is the subject property and they have 3 comps. So they're going to adjust the 3 comps based on what the subject property has or doesn't have. Okay, so never adjust the subject property. That's the property in question. Okay, that's being bought or sold. 2, if the comparable is superior to the subject property, subtract value from the comparable. So if the comparable has 4 bathrooms and the subject property has 3, then we're going to subtract what it costs for 1 extra bathroom from that one so that it comes down close to what the subject property is as far as parameters, okay, the specifics. So if it's superior, we subtract. Okay, it has extra bathroom, it has an extra lots more square footage, it has more a larger lot, you know, things like that, or has an extra garage or has a pool. Okay, then we subtract it from the comparable. Now if the comparable is inferior, it maybe has less bedrooms than 3, then we're going to add the value, less bathrooms, okay, than 3, then we're going to add the value of 1 bedroom to that comparable. So the appraiser will add and subtract to the property depending whether it's a better property, superior or inferior, until they come to a medium and decide, okay, the subject property that's in question, this is its price based on subtracting and adding to other comparables. That's adjusting their comparables. It's a lot of work doing comparables, doing an appraisal. So for example, subject property has a $10,000 pool and no porch. A comparable that sold for $250,000 has a porch, an extra bathroom, and no pool. Okay, so the comparable, the adjustment will be $250,000, okay, plus $10,000, right? Because the subject property has a pool worth $10,000, but it doesn't have a porch. So we're going to subtract the porch, $5,000, and it doesn't have an extra bathroom, so we're going to subtract $6,000 from the superior property. Because in essence, it's superior in the fact that it has a porch and a pool and a extra bathroom. However, it's inferior because it doesn't have a pool. So it has both inferior and superior. So we're adding and subtracting. Okay. So now the gross rent multiplier. So the gross rent multiplier, abbreviated GRM. Formula is you have the sales price equals the monthly rental income times the GRM. It'll be a number, a rate. Okay, so sales price equals monthly rental income. So if an investor says, I want a property that has this kind of a GRM, and we know what the rental monthly income is, right? Because the property that's being sold has rental income, even though everything may not be vacant. So they take the monthly rental income, the sales price, the offer, and come up with the gross rent multiplier. So the gross rent multiplier would be on the left, right? There's 3 different ways of writing the formula. Sales price equals monthly rent income times GRM. And that's the gross income. Okay, it doesn't say net or gross. So you take whatever income is coming in. And so we don't have the gross rent multiplier. So the gross rent multiplier is going to be over here on the left, but we do have the sales price and we do have the monthly rental income. So it would be sales price divided by the monthly rental income, not the yearly, but the monthly. And then that gives us the GRM. Okay. So an example here, some examples are, what is the value of a fourplex with monthly rent of $2,800 and a GRM of 112? Okay, so in this one, we have the income, right? We have the monthly rent. So it'll be the monthly rent times the gross rent multiplier will give us the price. So monthly rent is $2,800 and the GRM is 112. So 2,800, gosh, I hate that thing. 2,800 times 112 gives us a value, a sales price of $313,600. So sometimes if you're not sure which way to use it and you need to know, you already have 2 numbers, the rent and the gross rent multiplier. So would you be dividing or would you be multiplying? Well, the only way to get the value of a house, which is going to be in the thousands, is you have to multiply it, right? If you can't remember the formula. Another example. What is the GRM of a fourplex with monthly rent of $2,800? And they give us the value. Okay, so we have the rent, okay, and we have the value, okay? So we have the sales price and we're looking for the GRM, right? So let me see if I can move that on to the other page. Yes, there. I need to see the rest. Ooh, man. You really need your glasses, your spectacles, right? That's because I want you to see both formulas. Okay, there we go. Gross rent multiplier. Okay, so and on the second question, they're saying, what is the GRM? So we're looking for the GRM here. Neither of these equations are set up so that you can find the GRM really quick, right? So we've got to, multiply, divide differently. So we have the monthly rent income of $2,800, okay? And we're going to divide it because we have the sales price here, okay, of $313,600 equals monthly rent income divided by that. So we divide the right side by the rental income, divide the left side by rental income. We cancel it on the right. So it's sales price divided by rental income equals GRM. And it gives us again 112 GRM. Okay. Now there is a gross income multiplier. So the other one was gross rent multiplier. So that deals with monthly rent, okay, to determine the sales price or to determine what the GRM, gross rent multiplier. This one is gross income multiplier. So GRM versus GIM. Okay, gross income multiplier equals sales price divided by the annual income. Okay, it's for the income for the 12 months versus Bailey, quit your whining, versus here on the GRM, we're dealing with monthly income. On the gross income multiplier, we're dealing with annual income. Okay, so that's the difference with those two. And so you've got the sales price divided by the annual income. I wonder if she wants to go to the bathroom. Gosh, not a good thing. Okay, so you've got sales price equals annual income times GIM. And the other question was sales price equals monthly rent, okay, times GRM. Okay, so one is sales price equals annual income. The other one is monthly income. So similar formula, but you're dealing with either monthly or annual. And they're both gross income, okay? So the annual income will equal the sales price of the property divided by the gross rent. Oh, they put grant, that should be gross income multiplier. See, books make errors too, okay? Gross income multiplier. So an example is, what is the value of a commercial property? And that they're normally used on commercial properties, right? What is the value of commercial property with annual income of $33,600? Okay, and it's gross, right? It says gross. And a GIM of 9.3. So then it's 33,000. That's the annual income times, so annual income, okay, we have here, times the GRM will give us the sales price of $312,480. Is everyone following? Or done a little bit different. Now they're giving us the GRM. No, they gave us the GRM and the yearly income. Now they're giving us, they want to calculate what the GIM is, not GRM, gross income multiplier. So the gross income multiplier with annual income of $33,600 and the property value of $312. So now we're looking for, we'll use this formula. GIM is what we're looking for. We have the sales price, goes on the top, divided by the annual income will give us a small number, right? So you all know how to do division. So if you want a small number, you're dividing sometimes a large number on top divided by another large number, but not as large, you'll get a small number. And so that is a rate. The 9.3 gross income multiplier versus gross rent multiplier. So they're very similar, but one is dealing with monthly income and the other one with yearly income. All right. So we've got a comment from Delilah Ortiz. I passed my national and Texas exam this past week thanks to you and your video. Oh, wow. Awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations, Delilah. Was it your first time that you took the exams, or did you have to take it more than once? Well, you took them both and you passed them. So hopefully it was the first time. And if you're still on here, if you could comment, you know, how regularly you studied, if you studied every day, what did you study? All right, awesome. All right, so now we're going to do the cost approach. All right, the cost approach formula, right? So we have three different approaches for an appraisal. The CMA, the comparison approach, the cost approach. When there aren't any comparables, then they've got to use the cost of material in order to build a similar property. And that's what insurance adjusters do, right? If something and your house burns down and you've got to rebuild it, they go and evaluate by the cost of the material today, not in the past, but today's cost of material. And the third one is the what? Income approach. So those are the three approaches that an appraisal uses, right? CMA, cost approach, income approach. So now we're dealing with cost approach. So the formula on this is you have the value, that's the subject property value, equals land value, because remember, land doesn't depreciate, so usually we have to add it, plus the improvements. And what are the improvements? The building of the home, anything else that you add to it, and capital additions, anything else that you added to it, and the depreciation value of that property. If it's an older property, right, it's depreciated a certain amount every year. So improvements plus any addition. So the improvements is not that they improved it right now. It's whatever is on the land, okay, above the land, plus any capital additions, anything that was added that cost money, minus the depreciation, okay? So example, land value equals 50,000. So the land is usually less valuable than the improvement. The home replacement cost, which insurance companies use, is 150,000. The new garage added at 30,000. Pretty good garage. The total depreciation was 10,000. So they're taking the depreciation on the life of whatever years that property is that owner had it, because they're selling it now. So value equals 50,000, the land, plus 150 for the improvements, plus a new garage is the capital additions, minus the depreciation, 220,000. And why is it separated? Because the land is not depreciated. Okay? Any questions? Why are you thinking of that? So Delilah says, I passed the national part the first time and failed the state by 3 points. Okay. Went back and passed it the second time. I would watch your practice test every day for at least 20 minutes. Awesome. Did you study some prep books like from Champion or Prep Agent or any other books that you maybe purchased? I appreciate that, sharing that. Thank you. And congratulations. So now you've got to select a broker. If you want to talk about EXP, let's schedule an appointment. Okay, so that was the cost approach. So now they look at depreciation formulas. And it's annual depreciation when you're doing depreciation. So you have the beginning depreciable basis. So the beginning is when you first bought the property, what did you buy it for? Now from that purchase price, not from the age of the property, but when you bought it, it's going to be depreciated from that value. So that's the beginning depreciable basis when you bought it, when it was purchased. Okay, so we purchased it for 500,000. That's our starting price. Okay, then it says annual depreciation is the beginning depreciable basis divided by the depreciated terms. How many number of years? So if they've owned it 5 years, they bought it for $500,000 divided by 5 years, and that's the annual depreciation. So depreciation basis equals the initial property value plus any capital improvements, just like on this portion here, capital additions, any capital improvements minus the land value, right? Because the land value is not depreciated. In order to get what the actual depreciation is, we've got to subtract the land value. Okay, so then the example, well, let me see if I can take it to the next page. Yeah, there we go. So the example is, so we have a property value of, they're using 500,000, right? Same thinking, $500,000. The land value is 110,000. You see how much less the land is, but yeah, it's a pretty good price for the land. Depreciation term is 39 years. So every year that property is depreciated, but they only had it for 5 years, okay? Let's say. Step 1, so you've got 500,000 minus the land. So it gives us the new depreciable basis of 390,000. Step 2 is we've got the new depreciable basis, 390,000, divided by 39 years, so that we can determine, how much it depreciated each year. So it equals to 10,000 annual depreciation, because we're looking for how much did it depreciate each year. Okay, so that is 10,000. All right. So now we have income capitalization formula. Okay, income capitalization formula. So this is the value, the property value, okay, equals the annual net operating income. So it's the income after deducting all the expenses, divided by a number, a cap rate. Investors will want to know that cap rate. Capitalization rate, writing the formula a different way with the same factors. You have 3 factors: value, net operating income, and capitalization rate. So to calculate capitalization rate, you're just inverting the capitalization and value, right? You bring the value down, capitalization rate to the other side. So now you still have the income, net operating income, divided by the value of the property, gives us the cap rate. That's how we call it, a cap rate, okay? So an example is A, property generates 490,000 net income and sells at 7% cap rate. What is its value? Okay, so it generates, that's a lot of income, major big commercial property. And that's after all the expenses. So 490,000 divided by 7, right? 490,000 here divided by 7, the cap rate equals 7 million. So the value of that property is $7 million. Sometimes they'll give you the expenses and you have to subtract them. So in this one, it's pretty straightforward. Number 2, a property has a net income of 490,000 and sells for 7 million. What is the cap rate? So now we're using the second formula. 490,000 divided by 7 million gives us 7% cap rate, 7 cap rate. Now the next one says a property's value is 7 million and the cap rate is 7%. What is the property's net operating income? So they're helping you solve each of the items here: value, income, and capitalization rate. So now it's 7 million, okay, divided by, multiplied by the cap rate. These two values here gives us 490,000. So same formula, just moving the numbers to go with the units of net operating income, capitalization rate, or value. So you can write the formula in 3 different ways, right? We've got the operating net income of 490 is what we're looking for, times the value of 7 million, times the cap rate of 7%. Got it? All right. So we're going to call it a day with that. Reviewed a little bit of math for some of you, and appreciate you all watching here. If you haven't gone to my YouTube channel, YouTube AgentPrep, please go there, tap the subscribe button, click the little bell so you get notified every time I go live. And of course, give me a thumbs up, send me some love, okay, on this video if you enjoyed it. And stay in touch with me. Let me know how your exam goes. You can do it on Messenger or on YouTube. I comment to all of them. And if you're looking for a brokerage, let's talk about that, whether eXp is the right company for you or not. I can help guide you and questions to ask and how to make a decision as to what the best fit for you. So this is Wild Lily Handy coming to you from San Antonio, Texas, in the south of Texas, more centrally located, and with YouTube Agent Prep. So until next time, catch you all later. with my fingers, right? All right. See you Wednesday night. Bye. Good luck. Pass your exam. Become a realtor. That is the goal here. Start your real estate business.